Hey guys, and welcome to a new video. Today I want to give you guys an update on my lightning based spectral shield throw Deadeye. And I've changed a little bit of things, but mainly I'm currently working on my Emperor's Vigilance with like a shit ton of energy shield, as I was explaining the power of the shield in the previous video, basically, right? So today I want to go over a few upgrades and the current plan of like improving the character, as well as like the way that I've been trying to do this like steel kite shield that I'm gonna show you in a bit. I would say map showcase, what they change. I got Aventur's Gamble. I'm currently working on like some fractured lightning damage weapon, as well as I got a timeless jewel that I'm gonna show you in a bit. And yeah, that is pretty much it, because the shield is currently taking all the currency basically. But once I have this shield, then probably damage times 10 times 20, I don't know, it's gonna be crazy though. For the farming strat, I uploaded a video like 2 days ago on how I farm my currency, which is basically a cemetery map with Delirium, with Essence, with Shrines, with the Searing Exarch influence. And honestly, it is pretty decent, I would say. So every time when I'm grinding like, I don't know, like a couple hours, that I usually end up having like 15-20 divines or something. So I think it's pretty decent when it comes to like making currency. Even though I'm like a bit unlucky, I would say. I mean, I don't want to say unlucky, because that's just a bit of a weird term, right? But let's say I'm below average when it comes to like RNG. So I've been farming like maybe like a 300 maps by now, and honestly, I have not seen Brother's Stash, I have not seen Brother's Gift, and I would welcome that drops to happen soon, because I need a shit ton of Scouring Orbs and Chance Orbs. So this is like the current thing that I'm doing, is basically trying to chance the Steel Kite Shield into an Emperor's Vigilance, which is a 100% chance if you hit it unique, right? Because there is only two unique shields from the Steel Kite base, which is the Emperor's Vigilance, and which is a shield. I think it was the one with a weird name with the 10 different keystones on it. But this shield is a boss drop. I think it comes from the Trial Master, and since you're not able to actually chance boss drops, it's gonna be 100% guaranteed the Emperor's Vigilance as soon as I'm actually hitting it. But let's say the chance is pretty low, like honestly pretty low. So I've had a couple people telling me that they have chanced it, and it seems like the average would be somewhere about 1 to 30,000, 1 to 40,000. So it seems to be a very hard process, and that would mean that the main cause of actually doing the shield is actually the chancing process, instead of, oh wait, this could be pretty good, that is chancing the shield instead of like getting the right tree on it. And I think this could take like another 20, 30, 40, 50 divines or something like that. Okay, let's go over the updates real quick. Let me quickly throw that in. What is this? 3 passives, mono reservation. Yeah, it's sadly not item level 84, so it's probably like 30 chaos or something. That's pretty, yeah, should be fine. Good. What did change? So usually, if you are playing this game in a more intelligent way, in a less MBX way, that means, right? You would usually start your league, and at some point you're gonna like swap your gear and get like 1 to 5 chaos upgrades on every single piece of gear slot, and then start into white maps, yellow maps, until red tier maps and stuff like that. And then you would go like, okay, let's go like a 50 chaos per single item slot. Let's maybe add a cluster jewel or something like that. And then you upgrade your gear as you go, you know. And at some point you're like, okay, let's spend like 1 to 5 divines per item slot until you get like the overall character to a very good state. The way I play it, I'm making my character mapping ready. You know, this is like some classic gear, life resistance, nothing crazy. Here we have life resistance, ally damage crafted. This ring has like, this ring is so bad. But yeah, let's say it like that. I make my character mapping ready. That means as long as I can farm maps, I can make currency. This is like the baseline of everything. But what I do instead of like saying, hey, my ring is so bad, I need to like upgrade this one, I want to upgrade directly from this like mapping state, or I'm able to map until end game items, okay? That's why the upgrading path is rather slow, because all the upgrades that I'm doing are quite expensive, let's say it like that. So let's talk about the first upgrade that I've done is the Ventor's Gamble Ring, which is, in my opinion, I think the craziest Ventor that you could get for this build, and it's probably gonna be the best one for the entire league. So it has like almost max life rest, it has maxed out increased quantity rarity, but the main thing is, as we're playing with the lightning, the Dorian's prototype chest, we want to get as low lightning resistance as possible, and this ring has like almost maxed fire cold rest, but it has maximum negative lightning resistance, which goes even further lower with quality of resistance. So if you add quality on your Ventors, the plus will get higher, the minus will also get lower. So this is very important. So this ring gives me like negative 13 lightning res on top of that. And I did pay, I think, 10 divines for this one, with I think is pretty much a steal, because the guy that sold it was like, okay, it's negative lightning res is shit, you know, or at least it's not that great, you know. But for a build like mine, is like, dude, this is like best in slot, right? It's crazy good. At the moment, I'm running minus 148 lightning resistance. But I have to say I'm having all resistance on my amulet, so that would be 58, and I'm also running this 1 max cold resistance node, which is also 8 all resistance. So that's like minus 18, that would be minus 168, something like that. I'm not running a Thread of Hope yet. That should also bring me minus 20 all rest. So I think like with like 1 or 2 small adjustments here and there, once I swap my amulet, once I swap some of the other things, I might be able to get this negative 200, which is the cap. But as of right now, I decided that I want to have like a little bit more maximum resistance, because I'm running a Melding the Flash, which gives me 80, like minus 4 all max res, and that's why I'm currently on 73. But you see that I'm way over fire and cold resistance already, which makes it pretty easy for me to swap out gear, you know, because hey, I have like 100 res over. So if I check my other items that have like here cold and cold res, fire and cold res, if I not use this thing, I'm still gonna be res capped by a mile, right? So this is pretty much a bit of a quality of life from the current gearing aspect, right? But since some of the pieces that I'm gonna talk about later that I want to add to the build, we're gonna miss these resistance anyway, so it's totally fine for me to have like that overcapped. So let's talk about the Timeless Jewel that I bought, which is Seed 13981, which does one thing pretty good, giving double damage. So we have double damage over here, we have double damage over here, we do have double damage over here, then we have double damage over here, and double damage over here, and double damage over here, and I think double damage over here. So this, I think it has like 7 double damage nodes in the area, where I think 6 are actually quite good. You know, with like life, spell suppression, life nodes, the frenzy node, the max resistance, the spell suppression cluster, my trick shot cluster. I think this one is a dead one, just because it's like way too far away and you're not gonna invest like 5 points to actually grab this 5 double damage, because the node itself with the blind effect and evasion rating doesn't really matter too much, right? But I think 6 times double damage, it's like 30% double damage for those nodes, I think is pretty goddamn good. And I got this for 30 divines, and I think that was like pretty much a snipe, because as far as I know, or as far as I seen them, because I have them on live search since a couple days, they are usually going between like 50 to 70 divines somewhere at this point. So I had to like get this one for 30 divines, just because like it's just gonna get more expensive, right? So that's what I say when I that's what I mean when I say you should actually try to improve your character in an intelligent way, right? So you shouldn't like spec, or at least spend like a 30 divines on a Timeless Jewel if the rest of your gear looks like this, okay? But this is just the way I play, and the next big step, like, okay, so this one has changed, this one has changed, then I got some boots with just resistance, movement speed, and ailment avoidance. So basically, I got myself this new ancient ancestral vision jewel, which says modifiers to chance to suppress spell damage, also applied to chance to avoid elemental ailments. Since we do have 100% spell suppression chance, we do have, based on this jewel, 50% avoid elemental ailments. Then we have 20% on this like thick skin cluster, makes it 70%. So we need something with like 30%. And I got this on the boots with the, what is it, the Searing Exarch implicit, I think? Eat of Worlds implicit. With chance to avoid elemental ailments above 30, which means that I'm ailment immune. So this is like one of the core things of every of my builds. I don't know when I ever played a build that wasn't ailment immune, if it wasn't like solo self-found or something like that. I just value ailment immunity like so high that I don't want to play without it. So that was like one of the first steps that I've changed with the new Ancestral Vision. Other than that, let's talk about the main core thing, which is the shield. So I got myself, okay, this is not mandatory, but this is just, you know, my thing. Item level 86, 100% base percentile steel kite shield, which sells much more to vendors because it's, you know, I just like this tag on my items. I don't know why, but it's just the way it is, right? So what you do then is try to get the right nodes on the tree. Let me quickly go over here. I think I have this over here. So there is these nodes are the ones that you want to try to get. 40 flat ES, 60% increased armor, evasion, energy shield, 15% increased defense modifiers. Once you have those 3 nodes, you're gonna have a 1005 ES Emperor's Vigilance. Okay? These are the 3 nodes that you have to have. Then there is one that is, what do you say, flexible or whatever, like replaceable. Replaceable. Yeah, something like that. And you have the SST node. So 4 of them are mandatory, in my opinion, if you want to get like super high, thick shield. And 1 can be something. This could be shock avoidance, and then use the Storm Shroud Jewel to be ailment immune, right? You could have 100% reduced ally reflected damage taking. It could be +1 frenzy power charge, but -1 endurance charge. It could be anything, okay? And the way I did it, I got like the first node over here, which is the max ES. So just like combine them with the forge. And by the way, be careful with the forges, because there are forges that say, I think this one has forged items have 30% quality, right? And there is one, forged items get corrupted with +1 implicit. If you have that and your shield is corrupted, it's bricked, okay? Take care of that. If you buy those forges, don't buy any of with like forged items are corrupted, right? Because that would like literally kill your item, which is pretty bad. But you start off with the first node, 40 ES. Then what you would do is you are looking for shields that have armor, evasion, energy shield on the second node that is close by. Like first, second node is like not really too hard. You can do that by just going PoE trade and say like 60%. You can actually type in the number because this is a fixed value. It doesn't roll like 40 to 60. It is a 60 roll if you have that, right? So let's say 60% increased armor, evasion, energy shield. You either have it with chance to block or with reduced life. I personally took the reduced life because it's not less life, okay? It's just a reduced maximum life, and I think later on when we I want to go into more of a block route, since we're getting glancing blows with the Emperor's Vigilance, and 5% block turns into 10% with glancing blows, so I'd rather trying to get like this block cap, right? So I didn't really bother too much with the reduced life. Then you go in, you want to have a shield, because you can only merge shields with shields, and then you say non-unique, and this is basically the way that I searched it, right? And then you just check on the second node it has to be, so this one would work, right? The first node doesn't really matter, but you could technically spec both of them, because as long as it's talented or allocated, it has a higher chance to be on the final tree when it's merged, right? But in that case, you can do it for the first 2 nodes, but the first one is the wrong one, while your other shield has the right one, so it's still like a 50-50 on keeping that, right? But once you have that, I think on this part, you don't really need imprint beasts too much. I'm not sure how much the first one is. But then you have like those 2 allocates, and then it starts to be like the expensive part. You need to imprint this base, okay? So I have here still the imprint running over here. And what you do is like imprint, then you merge it with the next node. So for me, the explicit defense modifiers, it can be on the 3rd or on the 4th cluster. Then you just merge it together. Is your tree alright? Keep on going with the next node. If it's bricked, you revert. make a new imprint, and then buy a new base with the explicit modifiers, and you continue doing that until all of these are connected. And the way I did that is basically I was actually scouring the item that I want to have. So let's say we want to have 15%, what is it, increased explicit defense modifiers, okay, that should be that one. So it has to be on the third row because our first two are already over here, right? So I'm just going over here. Is it on the third row? No, it's not. Over here, is it on the third one? No, it's not. And this is the way I basically search the items. But there is one interesting part. Here's actually one, but I rather keep it on the middle. I'm going to tell you why in a second. But yeah, once you have like your third node, just scour the first one and use your first two because it's a higher chance to stay. Because if you're failing, if it doesn't get the defense mod on the third one, but you keep the first two, which is your base two, you would save the imprint beast. Next thing, or next plus point, if you like, it's better to know. Some of these shields can get very expensive, just a base that you're gonna merge. So what you would do is you buy a fractured fossil, which creates a mirrored version of the shield, right? Since we're not worried about the stats of the shield, we only care about the passive tree. What you would do is, oh, this base on the third node, we have defense modifiers, whatever, is 100 chaos. The fractured fossil, I think, are like 50 chaos or 60 chaos. So you would fracture fossil, the one that you're gonna merge. So you always have like two shields that you could merge, right? So you would imprint, you merge it with the first split item. Oh, it failed. Okay, imprint back, create a new imprint, merge it with the second one. And then what I did as the third step, you could technically just go for node 4, which is the replaceable one, whatever you would like to have, or 4 and 5 together. And I decided to go for 4 and 5 together because I wasn't too bothered with the fourth node. Reason for that is I need those three, I have them, and I need the SST node. These can be whatever. Obviously, there is some that would be cool to have, but this could be, we're talking about imprint beasts, so like 1.5 divines a piece. So every time you fail, you have to spend at least 1.5 divines plus the new base that you want to merge. So I would say like, with the forge, it's like 2 divines per try. And I wanted to get it done at some point. So what I did is my first item was done with a tree here, with the 3 nodes allocated here, right? So 4 and 5 was missing. So I was actually checking for a shield that had the Spectral shield throw node on 5, Spectral shield throw on number 5, or at least Spectral shield throw, and then anything that is good. So you could do like count 1 and then say like 100% reduced elemental damage taken, avoid being shocked, for example, or all the other nodes that are kind of good, right? And then you have those shields, and then you only check for 4 and 5, okay? Because 1, 2, and 3 nodes I already made. So I'm checking down here, where is shock and SST, or the other one with SST, right? And that's why I wrote down here node 4, 5, because what I did is taking one of these shields, merging them together. The shield that I had prepared was shock avoidance and SST, and it ended up being strength and SST, which is kind of fine for me, just because honestly the fourth node is not the most relevant. It would higher the value if you have something good, but this is a raider character or a ranger base character, so we are so freaking strength starved because we are running a high level determination, and I'm even having like T1 strength on my boots. And yeah, this is basically how, or at least I have like a bunch of other items. The belt with strength, I picked the agate amulet for strength and intelligence, because strength is something that is really, really lacking on this build. So I was like, you know what, 80 strength is actually pretty decent, and I'm not gonna roll it over. And until this step, I spent about 20 divines to reach this point. One thing to note here is, if you merge those trees, it is very important that you have to see this as like this cluster, right? If your SST node is on the furthest top side, you cannot merge it because your first 3 points are over here. So it could technically be over here, or over here, or over here. Those are the 3 points that we could take, so we can actually follow from our base 3 nodes to either downside, middle side, which is like up and down, or down and up, or on the upside. Far up, far bottom doesn't work. So you always have to take care that your nodes are connectable. So if the defense modifier is like over here and my armor is down here, we cannot connect them up here, right? So it kind of mirrors whatever you're merging. So you always want to kind of stay on the middle part, because it has like the highest chances of getting you something done, you know, like getting like this V form or the opposite and stuff like that. So try to stay on the middle or go straight downside or straight upside, basically, right? So you want to take care of that. So for example, this would be a bad option here. I could technically reach it, but where is the defense modifier? So just to keep that in mind, I think Captain Lance made a perfect video about that, how this roster is built up and what you should take care of that. Good. Long story short, we are currently on the process of chancing that, and I spend about 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 chance hours, and I got completely shit on. So basically, what he's currently doing is I'm farming currency, I invest into chance scours and hope it rolls unique, right? If it doesn't happen, back to farming a day. Then chance scour, farming, chance scour, and at some point we potentially have this shield, and this is gonna be like very, very, very strong because I need a lot of armor, I need a lot of ES. My shield has 269 energy shield and 1000 evasion. Evasion doesn't really do anything for us because we are mitigating the incoming lightning damage based on Doriana's prototype with armor. And the new shield is gonna have like 2k armor, 1k ES or something, so that's gonna be an insane boost of damage, insane boost of defense. And actually, one weird thing, this Spectre shield throw node still does not work. So if I copy paste my current shield, this Spectre shield throw nodes does not work. But I have somebody that hit me up. His name is Major Regal, which is also the guy that cracked basically the code for the Timeless Jewel and published them for us to use. And he said he made he added this new gem or based on the nodes to a PUB. And he showed me the way it's done. I cannot even replicate that. It has to do like with coding and stuff. So I downloaded the dev version of Path of Building, right? And what I could do here, or at least after changing a couple of files in this like software, basically, we now have a Spectre Shield Throw MBX edition, okay? So if I go over here, Spectre Shield Throw, it says MBX Spectre Shield Throw, and all this skill gem does is removing the original Spectre Shield Throw modifiers and adding the ones from the node. So as you see, we have 100% Fist to Lightning conversion. We have lost the flat physical damage scaling, but we got the 30 to 15 lightning damage per 15 ES, and this actually works just fine. So, for example, if I have here... this is my current PUB, so it says like 500k DPS per shield, but it is obviously more because the SST node is not working. So I just basically export my current PUB, throw it in the dev version, and you're gonna see what happens with the damage. So I'm just gonna import, here it is. So we have the 500 damage. So all I'm doing here is take my Spectre Shield Throw and change it to the MBX version. And this is going to be Phantasmal. And now you see, instead of 500k, we're running 2 million, which is like the more accurate kind of like DPS that my build kind of has right now per shield it is, right? This is like a mediocre number, or at least like very small number, but as I said, my shield is Garbo. Just see the difference when we have actually this. As an example, if I would just add, let me quickly sort that. Let's take my current shield, which is the Havoc mark, and let's just add... let's say 1000 energy shield. It would end up too much. Okay, so let's do like 550 energy shield, so we end up like, let's do 500. So if I had 500 energy shield on that, we are now having 1.2k energy shield. It's a bit higher than the Vigilance will have, right? Because the Vigilance is like 1005, but you're gonna see that we jump from 2 million DPS to 21 million DPS. So basically, yeah, more than 10 times the damage by adding the energy shield to the shield, basically, without changing any of the gear. There is still, like, Cluster Jewels missing, Watcher's Eye missing, Forbidden Flame Flesh missing. I have no idea what kind of weapon we're gonna use. There's, like, so much min-maxing to do, but I can see this build doing, like, probably 500 million DPS once it is more or less min-maxed. But yeah, this is basically... the current state, and the reason, as I said, why it is doing so much damage is because of all the modifiers. And oh yeah, by the way, if we add an Ashes of the Star, which gives like quality to all of our active skill gems, right? Then our Spectre Shield Throw does even more. So let's just add the shield, plus we add the Ashes of the Star. we are already running 1,300% crit multiplier on this build. And I can see this build having like over 1,500 multiplier with this set combination, with the amount of energy shield, with the alternate quality Spectre shield throw giving you multiplier per 100 ES, with an Ashes of the Star giving quality due to that, so it's like 50 multi per 100 ES on the shield. If our shield has like 1,000 energy shield, then we have like a solo 500 crit multi on our Spectre shield throw itself. Plus, we do have the Threshold Jewel, which gives like crit multi and base crit. So with a 1k ES shield, we're gonna hit like 15% base crit on our Spectre shield throw on top of the base crit. It is actually gonna be so ridiculous and so nutty. So I'm really, really looking forward. But as of right now, grinding currency, try to chance it. Currency, try to chance again. And we're gonna continue this process until we have the shield, and then we can start farming for an Ashes of the Star or for the new helmet that can also have the Spectre shield throw node that will stack. But honestly, I think I need a really, really good helmet. I don't want to have just the SST node. I want to have like some good nodes that I could use for my build on the way. Alright guys, this is it for today's update. Yeah, thanks for tuning in, thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.